In this video, we're going to talk about 3D scanning, which is a highly effective method of recreating part geometries. The first step is for a technician to use a 3D scanning machine to create a what's called a point cloud, or a digital representation of 3D object. Once that point cloud is obtained, a common misconception is that once you have scanned your part, you're done, and you have this perfect CAD model that you can then use to go out and make parts. And that's not the case. It's actually a lengthier process than most people realize. The first step is to scan the part, but after that, you need to take that raw scan data, that point cloud, and import it into special software. And with this software, you can then manipulate that raw scan data and use it to create a CAD model. In fact, the software in which this reverse engineering takes place is very similar to common common CAD packages out there, like SolidWorks is a very common CAD program. And the software out there that's used to reverse engineer, take this raw scan data and turn it into a CAD model is very similar to CAD software itself. And that takes time. There is some automation and some efficiencies built into this software, but it's still basically the process of creating a CAD model, but using that point cloud data as a reference to guide you and ensure that you create the CAD model accurately. So 3D scanning is, we're talking about it in this manufacturing processes method, and it is an important process to consider during the manufacturing stage of development, but it's not a process that creates directly a physical part. All it creates is a digital representation of that part, and even then it's not yet useful for manufacturing. You have to take that point cloud and create your CAD model, and then you can use that CAD model with conventional manufacturing processes to make physical parts. It's also a rather expensive process because it requires a lot of time from highly skilled, well-paid people to create a reverse engineered useful CAD model from a simple part. It could take $1,000 or something like that. It is not unreasonable at all to expect for recreating even a fairly simple part. So it's not a process that is employed extremely often. One area in which the process is employed often is when you have legacy parts. So like maybe in aerospace in the 50s, someone designed, I don't know, a part that goes into your landing gear, and there wasn't CAD back then. There were only 2D drawings on paper. So maybe those paper drawings were lost, and the industry is still using this part, but they no longer have any documentation to make that part, but they need it. They need to be able to reproduce this part. So in that case, you would 3D scan the actual part, and then you would use that to reverse engineer the CAD model. And then from the CAD model, you can go off and make new tooling, machine the part, die cast the part, whatever it is. But now you have your manufacturing documentation, and you can send that to any manufacturer to reproduce the physical parts.
Okay, question. So if I don't have the budget to buy or outsource the 3D scanning, then what's my best alternative to create an accurate CAD data from the physical part?
Well, depending on how accurate you need the part to be and how complex the part is, there could be a few other options. If it's a relatively simple part with kind of blocky geometry, you don't have any complex curvature in it, you could just take a set of calipers and use calipers to measure that physical part, record the dimensions, and then use those dimensions to create the CAD model. But for parts that have some complex curvature, it's basically impossible to use calipers to recreate, to pull those measurements and be able to reproduce them in a reliable manner. So for some parts, there really aren't many alternatives to scanning. You need to scan it in order to reproduce it.
Could a designer get in trouble for maybe infringement of the part? Say that someone has created a part for a very famous brand like Ferrari, and I want to do the 3D scanning, so I can basically recreate something at home. Would that infringe a patent or something?
Potentially. That's probably a question for a patent attorney, but sure, it's possible.
Okay, sounds good.
If you found this content helpful, consider enrolling in our signature program at mypipelineacademy.com. Whether you're an individual interested in beginning a new career as a mechanical designer or a company interested in training your new engineering hires, our signature program helps students develop the practical skills they need to be productive mechanical design engineers. Seating is limited. We hope to see you there soon.